You are listening to The Common Sense Practical Prepper, sponsored by Duct Tape, the real duct tape. It fixes everything, except bad decisions. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America. From border to border, coast to coast, and all ships at sea, here is your host, Keith.
Hello again, all. You're listening to the Common Sense Practical Prepper podcast for August the 8th, 2026. Tonight, I want to talk about something that most people never think about until it's too late, and that is reading people. Not mind reading, not profiling, not being paranoid. Talking about the ability to walk into a space, a parking lot, a gas station, a grocery store, and within a few seconds understand what's normal, what's not normal, and who in that space might be a problem. And this will go along with situational awareness, run, hide, fight, and several other topics that I've covered in the past. So right up front, this is a everyday skill. This isn't me talking about some post-apocalyptic fantasy or anything like that. This is stuff that happens every single day. This is you walking to your car after work, the gas station at 10 o'clock at night, your wife or spouse or whomever leaving the grocery store late in the evening and walking across a dimly lit parking lot alone as they head towards their vehicle. So we are going to talk about this in the course or context, I guess, of just normal everyday life, because that's where 99.9% of the time that this is going to come in handy. But here's the thing. If you build this skill now when everything is quote unquote normal, and then God forbid the day comes when normal gets turned upside down, grid is down, no one answers 911 calls, when the baseline shifts from people going about their day to people desperate and scared, this training doesn't come in handy. It becomes a difference between you making it home and maybe you not making it home. But we're not there yet. We're here. Everything's relatively normal. We're good. We're in the everyday. So let's dive in. As a police officer, patrol, detective, plainclothes, I've interviewed hundreds of people. Some of them the worst human beings that you could ever sit across from. And the one thing that I learned that applies to everyone, cop or not, is this. People tell you who they are before they do anything. You just have to know what to look for. So let's talk about a baseline. What is normal? So the very first thing I learned on patrol from my field training officer, before I even learned how to spot a threat, is how to spot normal. Every environment has a rhythm, has a baseline. The way people walk, where their eyes go, how close they stand to each other, and how they carry themselves. A shopping mall at 2 p.m. on a Saturday has a baseline. A gas station at 11 p.m. at night has a different baseline. A church parking lot on a crowded Sunday morning has a baseline. A bar at closing time. They all have a normal, and that normal is different depending on where you are and when you are there. Your job, your goal as a regular person who wants to be safer is to learn to read that baseline within the first 30 seconds of entering that particular space. And here is how you do that. You stop at the threshold. When you walk into any space, a store, restaurant, parking lot, church, whatever, give yourself 3 seconds before you engage. What's the general energy of the room? Are there people moving with a purpose? Is someone standing still that shouldn't be standing still? Is the noise level consistent? Or is there a pocket of tension somewhere in the room? Identify the anchors. Who is supposed to be there? Employees, security guards, parents with kids, shoppers with carts. These are the anchors for any particular space. They belong there. Find the outlier if there is one. Who in this space does not fit the baseline? Not who looks suspicious, that tends to have some bias added to it, but who is behaving differently from everyone else in the same spot. That's data that you capture. The guy in the parking lot who is sitting in his car with the engine off, not looking at his phone, not eating lunch, just sitting and watching. He breaks the baseline. Maybe he's waiting for his wife. Maybe he's not. Obviously, we don't confront him. It's just something that we make a mental note of. So baseline first, always, every time. So I'm going to give you a pro tip that I learned in the very first week of the academy. And that is the one thing that will keep you the safest in any encounter with any other human being. Watch the hands. Hands kill people. Eyes don't kill people. Words don't kill people. It's the hands. The thousands of traffic stops that I made when I approached the vehicle on a traffic stop. I'm not looking at the driver's face. I'm looking at their hands. Where are their hands? What are they doing with their hands? And can I see all 10 fingers? You should do the same. Obviously not traffic stop. Hopefully you guys aren't pulling people over. Let me see your hands. But any other interaction that might feel off. And here's what the hands can tell you. Hidden hands. Hands behind the back, in a waistband, inside a jacket. You cannot assess a threat you cannot see. If someone approaches you and you cannot see their hands, that is information. You might need to create some distance. Clenched fists. A person who has their fists balled up is preparing for something. Their body knows it before their brain even admits it. Fidgeting hands. Touching the face, adjusting the waistband, pulling at a hem. The nervous system is flooding with adrenaline. Something is about to happen. The reach. Any movement towards a pocket, a bag, a waistband during a tense interaction. This is the one that gets people killed, and it's the one you should absolutely be watching for in any confrontation. You don't need to be a police officer to watch hands. You just need to train yourself to look there first instead of the face. The face lies, the hands do not. Let's talk about some pre-attack indicators. So this is the meat of the podcast, I guess you could say. These are the behaviors that happen immediately before violence, not during, but before. And most people miss every single one of these because they're not looking for them. Let's talk about target glancing. Someone looks at you, looks away, looks back, looks at your pockets, your bag, your watch. They're not admiring your outfit. They're sizing you up, measuring risk versus reward. How big are you? Are you paying attention? Is anyone watching? Blading the body. A person turns sideways to you and kind of puts one shoulder forward. That's called blading. So one shoulder forward and one shoulder back. This is what is considered a fighting stance. The body is squaring up for action before the conscious mind has even made the decision to strike. If someone blades to you during a conversation, they are preparing for a physical outcome. The interview. Hey man, you got the time? You got a cigarette? Can you help me with something real quick? Hey, I'm kind of lost. I need directions. This is the approach. The question does not matter. They don't care what time it is. They're not really asking for directions. They're closing the distance under a pretense. They're getting inside your reactionary gap, and we'll talk about that in a second. The answer is never what they're after. They're after your proximity. They're after getting within your reactionary gap. Grooming cues, touching the nose, rubbing the neck, adjusting a hat, pulling at the shirt. These are all what they call self-soothing behaviors. The nervous system is ramping up for action, and the body is trying to burn off adrenaline before it commits to violence. The weight shift. This is important. This is the last cue before a physical assault. The feet change. The weight moves to the balls of the feet. One foot slides back. The body is loaded like a spring. If you see a weight shift, and you've already seen 2 or 3 of the other indicators we just spoke about, you are almost out of time. You need to distance yourself immediately. And again, none of these by themselves mean violence is imminent. 2 or 3 in combination, that's a pattern, and patterns do not lie. Let's talk about action versus reaction. And when I was doing the rough draft script for this podcast, I almost did not put this in, but this is very important. Action is always faster than reaction. Always, no exception. The person who moves first has an insurmountable advantage. It's physics, it's neurology, it's how the human body works. Here's how it happens. When someone acts, throws a punch, pulls a knife, reaches for a weapon, your brain has to see it, process it, decide what to do, and then send the signal to your body to move. That loop takes time. Even for a trained professional, the reaction gap is somewhere between 1/2 of a second and 1 full second. Half a second does not seem like much, but during a violent encounter, it is an eternity. So we'll put this all together. So what is the point of everything that I told you about pre-attack indicators? It puts you back in the action position. If you've already read the hands, seen the weight shift, noticed the target glancing, you're not reacting to the attack. You're acting on the information prior to the attack. You are the one that's moving first. You are the one that is creating distance, changing angles, getting out of there, while this person is still in the decision phase, I guess you could say. And that's it. The person who sees it coming and moves first wins. The person who waits for confirmation fails. You don't need to be faster, stronger, or better trained than the other person. You just need to be earlier. Let's talk about the 21-foot rule real quick. There's a drill in law enforcement called the Tueller drill, Tueller, named after Sergeant Dennis Triller, Salt Lake PD. In 1983, he asked a simple question. How close does a person have to be with a knife before they can reach you, before you can react? A lot of people will say, 10 feet, 40 feet. The true answer is 21 feet. A person with an edged weapon, a knife, a screwdriver, a box cutter, can cover 21 feet in approximately 1.5 seconds. That's faster than a well-trained police officer can recognize the threat, draw a sidearm, and fire an accurate shot. 21 feet, 1.5 seconds. I have seen this done hundreds of times. I have seen demonstrations where the person with the knife has their back to the, let's say, police officer or the person playing the police officer in this scenario. The police officer has a unloaded toy firearm holstered. The suspect is 21 feet away with their back to the role player. The role player in front of an audience tells the police officer, I'm going to turn with this knife and I'm going to close the distance and stab you with the pretend knife before you can get an accurate shot off. And everybody in the audience was kind of like, yeah, whatever. And even the role player, the police officer role player was like, no, I got this. Time and time again, the role player suspect could turn and close the distance before the role-playing officer was able to draw the weapon and get off a clean shot at the role-playing suspect. So what does this mean for you? It means distance is not comfort. It is a survival tool. When something feels off, when your gut is talking, when the hands are wrong, when the baseline is broken, your first move is to create distance immediately. No need to assess, no wait and see, get your distance. If someone is closing in on you and you feel wrong about it, 21 feet is your minimum. A car length is about 15 feet. So think about it. If someone has bad intentions and they are one car length away, they're already inside the kill zone. That's why everything we spoke about matters. You need to see it at 30, 40, 50 feet, not at 10. By 10, your options have collapsed. At 30, you could walk away, change directions, get in your car, create a barrier, what have you. Distance is time, time is options, and options are survival.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Common Sense Practical Prepper listeners. Want reliable, long-lasting food for your preps? Augustin Farms has you covered with top-quality freeze-dried and dehydrated meals, veggies, meats and more. Shelf-stable up to 25 years, made in the USA and actually delicious. Great prices, even better product. Use my affiliate link in the show notes. Don't forget to use the coupon code PODCASTPREP at checkout for an extra 10% off. Stock up now and prep smart. Back to the show.
So let's talk about content over context. And here's one simple thing that some people get wrong. What someone says matters less than where and when they are saying it. I'll read that again. What someone says matters less than where and when they are saying it. A guy asks you for directions at a grocery store at noon. Normal. Same guy, same question, 11 p.m. at a parking garage, you're alone. Different conversation entirely. The words didn't change, the context did. So here's a rule, another pro tip. If the situation doesn't match the explanation, believe the situation. Someone sitting in a parked car in your neighborhood at 2 a.m. and they say they're waiting for a friend. Well, maybe they are. But the context, 2 a.m., your street, engine off, lights off, doesn't match the casualness of the explanation. So trust the context, not the explanation. A person approaches you in a parking lot with a story about their car breaking down and they need $10 for gas. The story might be true, but the context is wrong. If there's no broken down car that you can see, if they're approaching you from the wrong direction, if they bypass 3 other people to get to you, the context in this instance is telling you that something isn't right with their story. Again, believe the situation, not the words. All right, we'll talk about trusting your gut. I've beaten this one like a rented mule at a kid's birthday party, but one more time. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, the tightening in your stomach, the sudden urge to leave a place or to walk across the street or to not get on an elevator. Most people dismiss that. They call themselves, oh, I'm just being paranoid, I'm just being dramatic, or I'm just being unfair. That's bullcrap. Stop doing that. The feeling in your subconscious mind's processing information that your conscious mind hasn't really caught up to yet. Your brain is taking in thousands of data points every single second. Body language, micro expression, spatial relationships, ambient sounds. And when enough of these data points say danger, your nervous system sends you a signal. The signal is not paranoia, it's data. Listen to your body. Gavin DeBecker wrote a book called The Gift of Fear. If you have not read it, please do. It's a fantastic book. His whole thesis boils down to this. Your fear response exists because it works. It kept our ancestors alive, and it will keep you alive if you listen to it. Now, I know what some people might be thinking, but the cost of being wrong about a threat is embarrassment. You crossed the street for no reason. You left the store early. You didn't get on an elevator with a stranger. Big deal. You were wrong. No harm, no foul. Nobody gets hurt. The cost of ignoring a real threat is everything. Take the embarrassment or whatever you want to call it every single time. I have been there dozens of times. And that's the thing about listening to your inner voice. You don't get on the elevator. You don't use the stairs. You never know if you did the right thing. But you will know very quickly if you do the wrong thing. Last thing, because reading a threat is really only half of the situation. The other half is what are you going to do with the information that you've received? Most people think they only have 2 options, fight or comply, puff up or submit. That's not true. There's a third option that some folks don't even consider. And again, control the distance. You don't have to stand there. You don't have to engage. You don't have to win the conversation. You have to create space, physical space between you and this potential threat. You can do it a dozen different ways. Don't back up in a straight line. Move at a 45-degree angle. Use barriers. Put a car, a cart, a counter between you and the perceived threat. Lower your voice. Do not raise your voice. Don't escalate. Lower your voice, calm, slow. A person who speaks slowly and calmly is communicating control. It tends to de-escalate the situation without you submitting. Give them an exit. This is a bit counterintuitive, but people escalate when they feel that they are cornered. That also includes the aggressor. If you give them a way out, or a way to walk away with their pride still intact, most of them will take it. Not all, but most will take it. And if none of this works, if you've read the baseline, you've seen the hands, you've noted the pre-attack indicators, and the situation is still escalating, then you leave. Fast, with a purpose, you get the hell out of there, no apology. You don't owe this stranger anything. You certainly don't owe a stranger your safety in exchange for politeness. That's ridiculous. All right, folks, quick recap. Here's your homework this week. Next time you go to a restaurant, or every time you go out, parking lot, gas station, grocery store, whatever, I want you to do one thing. Read the baseline. Walk in, stop for 3 seconds. What's normal? Who's the anchor? Who's the outlier? Where are your exits? That's it. Just let it become second nature. And once you're reading the baseline, the rest of this, the hands, the pre-attack indicators, the context, it'll all start clicking into place on its own because you've trained yourself to look. So every single skill that we just spoke about still applies. But the stakes go from I might get mugged to I might not go home. The pre-attack indicators are the same. The hands are the same. The gut is the same. The 21-foot rule never changes. And it doesn't change because the power goes out or there's an SHTF situation. The difference is, in normal life, you can afford to miss one. In a grid-down SHTF situation, you cannot. So build the skills now. Build it when the stakes are low. Make it automatic. Because if the day ever comes when a new normal gets turned upside down, you won't have time to learn this. All right, folks, I really do appreciate you stopping by. practicalpreppodcast@gmail.com. On the Twitters, prep_podcast. And another shameful commercial plug. There'll probably be a commercial within this podcast somewhere. The Augustin Farms affiliate link. If you click on the affiliate link in the show notes, on your first order, you will get 10% off. At checkout, use the code PODCASTPREP for an additional 10% off. All right, folks, as always, please be careful out there. Take care of one another. And until next time.
You've been listening to The Common Sense Practical Prepper. Subscribe, like, drop a review. Over and out.